Hi, Catherine. Hi,
Morning.
Catherine. How are
It's
you?
actually Lauren. I think,
Oh,
yeah, she forwarded me her webinar thing.
oh,
So,
okay.
how are
Got it.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks
Good.
for hopping on with us. I think we just have a few questions, some changes that we've had, but then also I want to review scale back with you.
Okay,
So,
great. That sounds good. We'll wait for Catherine to jump.
um, I don't know that Catherine's jumping on. I think she had something else to do. So I
Okay,
think we can go ahead and get started. And if she jumps in, that'll be good
perfect.
too.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we just to get a few questions out of the way. Part of our participant base, like the account is actually a family of different companies, and so the um, main overseeing people, they're selling a company. So we're losing about 400 of our participants, and that'll start January 1st. So we want to make sure that they're not getting any emails from us or anything after, the December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
But so we were thinking we would archive those members. Is that correct?
Yep, archiving will make sure that they don't receive any further communication.
Okay.
So that's
And as far as our um, what we're being charged per member, do archived members count towards that?
no. Good question. Archived
Okay.
members are not included in the total.
Okay. Um, Perfect. So then I'll just upload a file of usernames and archive those.
Yep, and you can do that in the same place where you upload users in user admin. There's an option to
Mm-hmm.
archive users, so I can show that
Got it.
quickly. Let's see. So right here, you'll just use the archive users
Uh-huh.
function. Yep.
Got it. Okay, that works. That should be pretty easy. Um, okay, and then we're thinking about changing our spouse user categories. Right now we have a whole we have categories for insured spouses, for uninsured spouses, but as it turns out, within WellSteps, it's not really making a difference whether they're insured or uninsured, and it's just a whole lot more uploading for me. So we're thinking about just changing our user category to like spouse and their club status, but can you foresee any issues with that?
No, what I would do actually is create the new categories and then switch everyone over. Or
Mm-hmm.
well, I guess there's a couple of different ways you could do it. Do you have a lot of users in the uninsured categories?
I
Is it pretty
don't
evenly
even know.
split?
I
Okay.
see what I was gonna do because we've already got, yeah. So okay, so I guess what I would do is kind of move to what the employee looks like. So it would just
Mhm.
be spouse and club status, spouse and TW first year.
Okay.
So
What I would do is just choose one of the categories, either insured or uninsured, and change them, and just remove
mhm,
the
okay,
insured part. And then you can delete the other ones. And then just go through and take your whole list of spouses and upload them, all of them, to the correct category. And even if there are some that are already in that category, it won't change. I mean, it won't
okay,
um, do anything bad. It will just
yeah,
put them in the same category. So that's probably what I would do, just to keep this page a little bit clean. You could go through and create whole new categories and then delete all of these, but it might be easier
mhm,
with what you already have set up. So yeah, I
okay,
think that's fine, and I do that all the time. Just change up category names and move people over.
mhm,
Yeah, so that's not a
mhm,
problem. And you can do that in MISC Utilities. And actually, the process has changed a little bit. We have a new tool called the Configurator, um, and
mhm.
I think I think that was in the last updates email that we sent out. But if not, then I'll put it in. Anyway, I'll show you this quickly. So it used to be. Oh, never mind, change user category is still there. So that's fine then.
Okay.
But just so you know, the configurator has replaced, um, there used to be options to change company username, change email, change some other things,
Mhm.
and that's now all done through the configurator. So basically what this is it will allow you to create a custom CSV to change different things for users, mass list.
Oh.
So the nice thing is
Mhm.
we have a bunch of different options to choose from, and you don't have to worry about the user columns and user extra columns. That's just IT jargon. So basically, you can decide what you want to do. You can leave blanks in the CSV. You can have the system leave those as is for the user, or you can update it to 0 or default or something for the user if the column is left blank for that one. And then typically we'll identify the user by their company username. This user ID is the one that the system will tag with a user, and that ID only shows up in user admin. So I typically will always use company username as the identifier. And then as you can see, when I selected that up here, these are the columns of your CSV, and this will show you what order.
Uh-huh.
And then when you upload, so I have the company username there, and then we have a bunch of different options. So probably the ones that I have used the most would be company username. So in this case, you would do the old company username and the new company username and upload that CSV, and it would change the company usernames. But you can also you can just add a bunch of these in here. And a lot of these you probably will never use, but you could do gender, you could do PHA on or off at login. You could do user category ID. So you could do user category in here, but since there's an option specifically for user category, you could just use that other option. You can update date of birth, location, language ID, phone number. So there's a bunch of different things in here. And as you can see, as I'm checking things off, it will create a custom CSV specifically for what you want to change. So this is a
Mhm.
really cool tool. It will allow us to change things more specific to the company faster. So anyway, I think the one that
Mhm.
I'll probably use the most will be company username and then the email one, which is right here. So yeah,
So, okay. So, like the way you have it selected right now, column A is their old company username. Column B would be a new company username.
right. And then a new email address. So basically,
Because
anything
that's, yeah.
column A is.
I do have a question
Oh, go ahead.
about that. Just, I've had a few people with, like, I go in and I guess I'm confused about username versus company username.
That is a little confusing. So company username is the one that we designate for them in the user upload, and then when a user registers, um, they have the option to change their username unless we turn off that feature in company admin. So the username is the user selected one, and the company username is what we've designated their username as. So typically we'll never mess with the user's chosen username just because they've chosen it, and usually there's no need ever to change that username since all of our identifying is done through the company username that we've assigned the user. Does that
So I guess,
change it up a little
yeah, I've turned it
bit?
off, but maybe I was confused. So I thought when I'm, because I have like in my big Excel master, I've got their WellSteps username in there, but I guess that's actually their WellSteps company username.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm doing uploads, I'm actually using their company username, not their username.
Right. But if you've turned off that feature in company admin and disallowed them to change their username, then they're both the same. The company username and the username
Yes.
would be the same. Yeah.
Because I turned it off because I thought if they started changing it that I wouldn't be able to do uploads because I would have to pull down what their username was every time, but
Oh,
instead their company username stays the same.
right. Yep. The
Oh.
company username is just, it's probably the number one identifier in the system besides email address and
Mhm.
the user ID that the system assigns the user, but that's something that we never work with. So, yeah, that's a great point. Company username will always stay the same no matter if the user changes their username.
Oh, so I could still do uploads and it would stick even if they've changed their username to something really obscure.
Yep, exactly. Username is mainly the login information.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I
yeah,
might end up
username
turning that back
for
on then.
username would be login username or something like that. So, anyway,
Okay.
yeah, good point.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, I've just had a lot. It turns out that the report that we got from the parent company isn't as accurate. So, like, sometimes participants will change companies, but then their email address is actually the company they started with, and now they've got a different one. And so I think I've got a few participants that I need to change kind of all of their stuff, their company username, everything. So I would use Configurator.
Yeah, yeah, and this will be a great tool, and you can decide which information you want to change for all of the users. Everything that we upload through the user upload is found in the configurator. So
Okay.
you can upload. You can always upload new users and then change anything within the user upload file through the configurator. So
Okay.
long answer, but
So that's
yes,
why
use the configurator for that.
that's why yeah, in the user, like where you can edit an individual user's information, you can't change company username there, right?
Right.
Okay.
So you can edit the
Okay.
username, but not the company username,
Yeah.
just since that's a
Yeah.
main identifier. Yeah. But as far as changing the user categories go, since that tool is still there, I would just use this one since it's easy and it's
Okay.
all right there. Um, and this
Yeah.
way you can do all of the spouses at once rather than uploading, one category at a time or something. You can just do all
Yeah.
the company usernames and their new category name.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had a question kind of linked to Scale Back. So, we've got a program called Scale Back Give Back. And so Scale Back is January through March, and that's what I've built that I want to review with you. But Give Back, the only thing that we need from Give Back is, and I mean, we ask them to weigh monthly, but it's not required. The only thing we need is a weight in September. Um, so we were wondering if there's any way. We don't really like the My Tracker feature for recording weight because they kind of have to choose a lot of things. It's not just like put your weight here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was gonna see, like, could we run a 1 week challenge or run something for just or for a month where we can have them, but all they have to do is put that weight in one time. So we knew if we ran a campaign for 4 weeks that there would be 4 quizzes, and that's not really part of the program. So we were wondering if I think what we're trying to do is, like, keep all the information in WellSteps. So we're wanting them to submit their weight within WellSteps if possible, but we didn't know the best way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Um, well, probably your idea of doing a 1 week challenge, um, that actually would be great. And you could leave it open for a month, but just have 1 week within the challenge. So let's look.
Now, are there reports for challenges? Like, could I actually see their individual weight?
Yeah, so we don't actually categorize the custom campaigns as a campaign or challenge. It's either, they're all sort of just campaigns, either weekly or they're modules or quizios. So you could even do a quizio type thing, but it doesn't it doesn't really matter how you designate it. You could just have 1 week of content, but then when you schedule it, you could have it scheduled for a month. So that 1 week of content with the place to enter their weight will be open for the whole month,
Mm-hmm.
but there won't be 4 different weeks. Does that make sense? Sort of like when you schedule
Yeah,
a quizio,
yeah.
they default for 1 week, but you can have them open for as long as you'd like. You could do something like that here.
Yeah.
And since we want it to be available through the campaigns tab, right, when they click on campaigns, we
Mhm.
should probably
Mhm.
not do a Quizio since those you have to provide a link for somewhere. Um,
Okay.
so I would say we would probably want to do a weekly give back campaign and just do total length 1, actual quizzes 1. And that
Uh-huh.
one quiz will show up on the quiz answer report, so we can pull that through the system. And then you could just do something very simple for the campaign message. And then for the week 1, just provide the information or tasks that you want the user to do. And then for the quiz, whatever format you'd like them to enter their way, a text
Mhm.
box or, yeah, something like that. And then that would be it. And that report would show up as the Give Back campaign.
Okay.
Um, and then it would just be 1 week, but you could schedule it in the scheduler for the whole month. So that sounds like it would be the best option here. Does that cover everything that you're wanting Give Back to?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah, because
that would be good.
yeah, that was our other kind of what we were running into is we knew we couldn't keep it open for the whole 6 months because we will have another campaign that needs to run, but we won't have anything in September campaign wise that needs to run. The only thing would be our Walktober campaign starts October 1st. So we would have Give Back open until the last day in September, and then we would have Walktober start. So is that going to mess anything up?
Well, you wouldn't have. Well, Walktober would start the first Monday in October, right? Because all of the campaigns are designed to start on Mondays.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
calendar, let's pull it. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like if Give Back was open until the 30th, then it would close, and then you would have the Walktober um, company, the campaign message showing for the rest of that week, and then Walktober would start on the 7th. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like it would work. You can do back-to-back things. So, for example, you could have Give Back ending on the 29th and then Walktober starting on the 30th. But if you want to provide
Mm-hmm.
that campaign message pre-campaign, then you'd want to spread them out at least a week so that message has a day
Yeah.
to show. But if you don't
Okay.
really care about that, then you can have them run back to back, and the Walktober invite email will still send the week before, and you can be sending the Walktober emails in September, of course. So
Yeah.
decide.
Okay. Well, I think that works, and we've got a few different options that we can kind of talk through closer to time too.
Yeah,
So.
but yes, that would work.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So, can I share my screen and show you what I've done, and maybe even okay, so I've got right now, I've got well, and I guess you can pull it up too. I've got the rewards tab and the premium reduction tab turned off for our companies because, and maybe I can get your thoughts on this too. I'm finding it very cumbersome to keep up with the way that we've built our program within WellSteps. Like I
Mm-hmm.
end up having to do like 62 different uploads just to
Oh,
keep it
wow.
accurate. And I can't keep up with it, honestly. So I turned both of those off because they were wildly inaccurate compared to what my records are, like in my database.
Rewards, you
Um,
said? You turned rewards
yeah,
on.
like I
Okay.
just, yeah, it was totally off. People didn't have credit for things they had actually done because our users, not a lot of things talk within the system to where it doesn't happen automatically. It's a lot of me having to go in and check things off for people and do uploads and pull things
Right.
down. And so I turned them off so that nobody can see anything because it was just so inaccurate. But I don't
Well,
remember
and
what
you
I
were
was
doing
saying.
a lot of like historical uploads as well with the campaigns that weren't in the system yet, right? So with the campaigns that you're building, once those are all in and you have reporting and you can do autocomplete for those, that will take care of a lot of the campaign uploads. With the health coaching sessions, that's something that will just be manual, but your coaches can have rewards access so that they can go in and check things off for users. Um, so those are
But
two
I
components.
have a lot of paper completers, and so I think we talked about
Oh,
one time I can't do auto verify with paper completers, right?
oh, right. For the campaigns, there are a lot who
Yeah.
submit paper stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have only 25% of our population is logged into WellSteps right now,
Hmm.
and I would say even at max utilization, I would say 75% would be our max. We're still going to have those paper completers always.
Hmm.
So I think I'm trying to figure out how do we, you know, use WellSteps to our advantage versus me just having to keep my own records and just keep updating WellSteps.
Right. So we actually have a couple. a segment of our team is specific for data management, and they will process paper campaigns, and paper PHAs, and paper rewards completers, and all of that. And since that is really time consuming for a lot of our groups that do that, we'll have someone whose job specifically is to process those. So I definitely understand that it takes a lot of time, um, and takes you away from other admin um, things in the system. So I don't know. I think the more people log in and register and start to use the system, that number will go down. But like you said, there'll still be some people that use paper. So I'm not sure what the solution would be. I guess that's something that your team might have to just decide on internally, how you want to manage the paper completer, since every group has
Mm-hmm.
a few. But with a group of Live Smart size, that could still be, a couple hundred or so users that are
Mm-hmm.
paper stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I guess I'm not quite sure what the answer would be as far as how you'd like to manage that, but I do know as more people come in and as you get more campaigns running in the system, that number will go down. But I guess right now at the beginning, that definitely would be a lot of work for you. So basically, I don't really have an answer for you, but
Yeah.
yeah, we
I
definitely
guess, yeah.
work with
And the
paper.
number, I think part of it has to do with the user categories that we've created because um, when I think it's just our reward structure and like translating that into WellSteps, because when they do a first follow-up coaching session versus a second one and all of that. So that's, yeah, I've got to figure that out for the new year. And I think the end of the year will always be the hardest part to keep up with just because we've got so many campaigns and so many things. I think starting in January, I'll have some more time to figure it out. But
Yeah,
um,
and the first
so
year and the end of the first year is always sort of, it's just more of the trial run. So I'm sure as you go into year two with LiveSmart and the portal, then that things will smooth out and you'll find a good process for up, uploading stuff. With the user categories, since we wanted the rewards activities to only show for certain user categories. I think that was why we set it up that way. There was a way. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my notes, but I know we had two different demos that we looked at for setting up rewards, and one was where all of the club activities would show on the rewards page, and one was like we have it now where only the specific club activities would show on the rewards page depending on what club the user was in. Um, But if the rewards activities are divided out into clubs, then you'd still be uploading based on club. So I'm not sure if
yeah,
it's
I
the
think
user categories
yeah,
or more just the amount of rewards activities that need verification. If that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have to keep the rewards the way it's set up just because our participants will be really confused if it
Otherwise,
shows they need us,
yeah.
if there's that second follow up there, but it's not required for them. So anyway,
Mhm.
we'll have to figure that out.
I'll think a little bit
Um,
more and I'll just think about maybe some ways that we could simplify it a little bit or just make it a little bit easier for you as an admin, you and Catherine. So I'll brainstorm a little bit and see what I can come up with. If there's any way we could do it that would
yeah,
simplify the process.
yeah, that would be awesome. Um, okay, so for scale back, I think I've got it built correctly, but I didn't know, and I know you've gone over this, but I just need to do it myself. So how do I, like, if I wanted to test it, I need to test it in Element Health, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so
Okay.
you would schedule it in Element Health and then you can test it in your admin account. You would just log in like you normally do for admin stuff and it would show in the Element Health campaign tab there. So when you go to manage campaigns, you would just select Element Health from the drop down and then I'll archive this old one. You can see what the old ones here are. And just to keep your list clean, you can archive or delete any of the old testing ones that you've done. Anyway, and then you can just schedule. It'll be under Live Smart,
Okay.
scale back right there. Yep, and then
Oh wait, I'm not.
let me go back actually. And then with testing, what I usually do, because usually you like to see all of the weeks laid out rather than actually go through the whole campaign. So when you schedule it, you can put the start date back in the past, and that will make sure that all of the weeks are open. And actually,
Okay.
so you can do it based on the start and end dates and when you think you'll be done testing. So I might do maybe November 5th, and then the test campaign would be open until the 6th. And that just will ensure that you can view every week. You can also, a lot of times when I'm testing, I'll just play around with the dates. So maybe I'll do one in the future so that I can look at the campaign message that the users will see before the campaign actually opens. And then I'll come back into the scheduler and change the dates to the past, and then I'll look at each different week.
Okay. So let me do what you're doing right now. Hold
Okay.
on.
Do you want
So,
the screen? I can toss the screen to you if you want, or you can just.
yeah, let's do that. Just because, yeah, I'm just such a doer. Otherwise, I, don't understand it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So I would add a campaign and let's mark scale back.
And then,
And then, so if I want to,
so scale back is a team campaign.
yeah.
Okay, and then just for testing purposes, if you want, you can do display team members or do the team settings if you want to. Don't have to, but that's nice for testing
So,
exactly how you'll have it.
okay. So display team members, that means that if you can see who's on each team.
You can see who's on your team in the team room, but not who's on.
Oh, just on my team.
Yeah.
Okay, but not everybody else's. Okay.
Right.
And then, okay, we don't have that. Now, emails, so for Scaleback, we decided we're just going to send those out in MailChimp, just because it's crunch time and we just got to get them scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
So would we have to do anything with the email portion of this?
Nope, nothing will pull since nothing's connected to Scaleback, so you can just leave it at standard and no emails will send.
Okay. So if I want to see the campaign message, I could put it in the future, like you said.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
So
right.
save changes.
Oh, I guess you.
As
Campaign number.
campaign 1, I guess.
Yeah, the number doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And then if you refresh your page, oh yeah, or you can just click on it. Yep. There you go.
Okay. So I'd like to center that, and then Scaleback is a 2-part weight measure. Okay. So I probably need to put a message in here like when to start tracking their weight or whatever.
Yeah. Any extra information that you want to put in there. And then with the scale back image, I think I went through with Catherine how to center that, but we can do that today if you want as well. I can just make sure you know how to center that.
Okay, well, I'm just making notes. So center, logo, add, instructions on registration. Okay, so then if I want to see all the weeks, what I go to manage campaigns, element help, edit. Okay, so you said go in the past.
Mm-hmm. And then you can see the end date will be open until January 6th. And you can change the dates as you need for testing. But yeah, and then you just click save.
Okay.
And it will default on the week that you should be on according to scheduling, but you can go back to any of the weeks.
Okay. So then I can look.
Yep, then you can test everything. And it looks like you actually might need to go back a little bit more to see weeks 8 and 9, because we're just on weeks now. But you can adjust the dates as you need to look at everything.
Yeah. Okay. I'll probably take some time and go through all of that, so that you don't have to do that. So.
Oh yeah, no problem. Okay. And then you can test the team room as well and make sure that all of that looks good.
Okay. So team room. So, okay, there's that. And then it would just show, okay, that's cut off though.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, that looks like an IT bug. So maybe take a screenshot of that and send it to me, and I'll pass it along to
Okay.
IT and see if we can get that fixed. It might be the length.
Okay.
It might be the length of the text, but I'm not sure if that makes a difference. Anyway, yeah, just send that to me and I'll have IT look into it.
Okay. And I did what the text says is pounds lost team average. But, oh, dang. Because look at this side right here. Because the way I set up the quiz, it's like you get zero, if you have lost 0 pounds in the last week, then you get zero if you've lost 1 or 2. But if people lose like 2 pounds, will 2 show here?
Yeah,
Or
I'm pretty sure the team graph scale will just adjust accordingly, depending on how much data the users put in. So I think it's just showing like that because there's no data in the system. But that's definitely something you can test as well with your test user and just make sure that the data is pulling over correctly. So you can go
okay,
through.
so I set it up to, if you lose 0.5 pounds, you get one pound credit. If you lose 1 pound, you get 1 pound credit. Now, because I didn't think I could give somebody half a point credit,
Mhm.
but so there's no way to show like 0.5, 1.52.
Right. The
Okay.
increments there are just because the system takes the average, and so the average might end up being a half point for the teams. It will take the team
Mhm.
total and average it. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, in the system, you're right. We can't do half points or half
Okay.
credit, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, I would put some test data in, check the graph, make sure that data is pulling over correctly, and you could even have Catherine or somebody else in
Yeah.
the health company go in and put some stuff in, so you could see a little bit more too. But with that title on the side, I'll have IT look into that and see why it's cutting off.
Okay. That sounds good. So I'll do that. And then my other question is about the refresh for the beginning of the year. Um, my one question is reporting wise. I know a lot of the steps are like pull this report, pull that report. Does that mean that there are we won't be able to pull historical reports after the year's been closed out?
It depends on what the tool is for. So with rewards, you can't pull historical. That's just a current report.
Okay.
Wellness plan is the same way. Campaigns, if the campaigns have been archived, um, then those can't be. But since campaigns are each scheduled individually, and the time that they're scheduled for is shown in the report, those actually could be historical. Mainly, it's just rewards and wellness plan. Once those are refreshed, you can't pull a historical report for those two. But there's the PHA detail report you can view for every iteration. Um,
What about biometrics? Like we were wondering right now, we've got 2018, 17, 16 in our uploaded. Once we upload 2019, we know 2017 will fall out, but will 2017 data fall out of the system? Like, will we be able to run any kind of aggregate report or will it be gone as well?
yeah, good question. You can here toss the screen back to me, and then I can show you on the our reports. So biometric information. Um, oh, let's see. Okay, there we go. Since biometrics are tied to the PHA iterations, biometric data will always
Mm-hmm.
be in the system. So in
Okay.
reports, you can view the aggregate report version, or you can view the PHA detail report. Let me go to my test company. So you can select all of the iterations, and this will show all of the biometric
Mm-hmm.
data aggregated, or you can just view one of them. Um, and then the PHA detail report will allow you to select um, a specific iteration to view. So with PHA detail, you can just look at 1 year. You could look at 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. But with aggregate view, you could view all of them at once. aggregated.
Okay.
So
Okay. So those will all stay.
yeah, I think really the only reports that won't be current would be rewards and wellness plan
Okay.
once those are refreshed.
Yep. Okay. Um, so before I get scale back scheduled, do I need to do the refresh?
Um, well, scale back points will be in the next rewards program year, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
then you can schedule it before rewards is refreshed. You could just connect the new rewards activity to the current scale back that's going on. Does that make sense? So rewards could be refreshed after scale back is already running. I'm sure you'll probably want to have it up and running by January. But
Yeah.
if scale back is running, even when the rewards activity isn't quite set up yet for the new year, that's just fine. And the reports will still be in the
So
and you can still mark completion.
yeah, we have Holiday Trio running. Really, I mean, they'll register. Okay, so that's going to be hard. So we have Holiday Trio running until January 4th. Like January 4th is their last week.
Hmm.
And then, so, and remind me, so one thing with Scale Back, I did, okay, I'm jumping all over the place. Okay, so Holiday Trio, it'll run through the 4th. And then are the evaluation questions open then the week of the 7th?
I'm not sure. Well, let's look at the scheduler. Yep, that's what it looks like. It ends completely on the 13th. So it looks like the evaluation week is the week of the 7th.
And there's no way to change that right now, right? Now that it's scheduled, that end date has to stay the same.
Right. You could end it early if you
Okay.
wanted, but then it would cut a week off. It would cut the evaluation week
So
off.
it
So you could
so
even
it has to
end
be.
it sometime within this week, but if you want the evaluation
Mhm.
questions to show, then at some point during this week it needs to be open.
So if I ended it on the 7th, because here's the thing, scale back registration is the week of the 7th.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay.
Okay. So
Sorry, go ahead.
scale back is registration is the week of January 7th. So if I wanted the campaign message to show, then scale back would have to start on the 7th, right?
Yes. Um, well, actually, if you wanted the campaign message to show, then you would start scale back on the 14th, and then you could end Holiday Trio on the 8th or the 9th and just give participants a couple of days to do the evaluation questions. And then the campaign
Mm-hmm.
message would show for the rest of that week. Or you could just do, a couple of days for Holiday Trio evaluation and have 3 days with scale back campaign message open. Um, so you could just decide within this week what you wanted to do, but um, scale back could start on the 14th, and then the campaign message would show the week.
Okay. So if I end Holiday Trio on January 9th and I start Scale Back on January 14th, the campaign message for Scale Back will start showing on the 10th?
Yep.
Okay. That works. Okay. So that's my other question is with Scale Back, I think I put in 9 weeks of. Let me go back and look real quick. The whole evaluation questions were kind of confusing me
Mhm.
because I didn't know if I needed an extra week in there or if they automatically, once they enter their last week's information, does it automatically direct them to the evaluation questions, or is that an extra week?
That's an extra week, yeah. So, um, the campaign message is not included in the scheduled weeks, but the evaluation week is included in the scheduled weeks. And that evaluation question week, we have a quiz that will trigger the evaluation questions.
Evaluation questions.
Yeah.
So let's see and scale back.
Oh.
So my week 9 for scale back is when they enter their final weight. So I would like almost for them to enter that final weight and that be the quiz that then immediately directs them to the evaluation.
Yep, it looks like that is actually how you have it set up here. So you're right. With our campaigns, with the WellSteps campaigns, we have it set it up so that the last week there is no data recording, and then it's just a catch-up week that will direct them to the evaluation questions. But you can set it up this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it looks like with week 9, they enter their final weight, and then they'll take the evaluation questions.
Okay, so I know you said you have to have a quiz to that's what triggers them to be directed to the evaluation. So me setting it up to where they enter their final weight on week 9 will automatically direct them to that.
Yes, and that's something that you'll be able to test in the Element Health Company, just to make sure that it's working the way that you want it to.
Yep. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. So how does us running these campaigns, I mean, literally back to back, how does that affect the way I need to refresh the system?
Honestly, campaigns can run completely separate from rewards. They're not tied together unless you specifically create a rewards activity that ties to the campaigns or challenges that you're running. So it doesn't really affect anything. The campaigns can run independent of rewards. So you can be refreshing rewards as campaigns are running. The only place where it would matter is if you want to use the autocomplete function for a rewards activity.
Mm-hmm.
And that just means that the reward for the rewards program year, the start and end date would need to include when the campaign is running that you want to tie to activity. So that would be
we figured that out with the fitness reimbursement. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So does that make that's really the only place, and you can do autocomplete. You can set up an autocomplete activity even when the campaign is running or even after it, since those completions will be recorded in the system.
Okay. And really for me right now, since I'm not using autocomplete, I can refresh the system kind of piece by piece and not have to worry about it. I guess in my head, I was thinking like I'm closing down one portal and I'm opening up another portal per se, but you're saying that I can refresh each tab independently of the others.
Right. Since really they all can run independently of each other, but rewards is where we tie a lot of the different tools that are available in together, as well as with Wellness Plan. We usually will tie rewards or campaigns in with Wellness Plan as well. But all of the tools can run separately, and all of the reporting is separate. So all of the completions for the campaigns will still be in the system, and you can use them for rewards, even though you're refreshing it while the campaign's going on.
Okay. Okay, so let me just run through these and see if I have any questions on the restart checklist. So run or verify any remaining forms, activities. Okay. Honestly, I think for us, the portal right now is not correct, but I don't think I'll have to do any of that, hopefully. End year 1 PHA. And okay, so I'll do that. Run and save reports for user activity and aggregate report. What is that specifically?
What was it again? The aggregate report and what other report?
The user activity report.
Oh, yes. So that is a rewards report, and that will give you all of the current activity completions for this rewards year. So since this is one that is current and you can't access previous years of rewards activity completions, this is one that you would definitely want to pull and have just in your records before you refresh the rewards system.
Okay. So I
So
don't
that's
think we'll
why
have to
pulling
do
the
that
report is
one.
at the top of the checklist, so that you pull the report before you refresh anything else.
Got it. Okay. Got it. And then aggregate report, is that like, what is that?
So that's what we looked at before. The aggregate report
Mhm.
actually, you don't have to pull it if you want it to be, if you want to pull the report for the current year just to have in your records. That's something you could pull. But like we looked at before, you can go back and view any of the iterations of data. So that's actually not one that is necessary that you have to pull.
Okay.
It will be lost.
Okay. Let me write this down. So I need to do step 2. Okay, I don't think I have to worry about 3. Deactivate year 1 program. Leave the box checked and enter the start date in the active box. Users with the coordinator setting check to still have access to. Oh, what does that mean?
Uh, Read it again. Sorry.
Sorry, what it says deactivate year 1 program. Leave the box checked and enter the next start date in the active box.
Oh, this is something that you won't have to worry about since you're leaving the program active. But this is
Oh,
referring
okay.
to in the general tab inactivating the company. Um, so, and actually, uh, let me pull up the checklist. Are you looking at the year-end process or the, um,
Yeah.
let's see, is
Oh,
it this
you
year-end
edited it
process or the
wrong.
other one? The
No,
specific
I was
element?
looking at the other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I would look at this one. I
Okay.
sort of went through the year-end process and pulled out specifically what would probably work for you guys a little bit better. So I'll send this to you again, if you haven't had a chance to look at it. But since you're doing it tool by tool, you won't actually be inactivating the whole program, so you
Okay.
don't have to worry about that at all.
Okay.
Um, yep. So yeah, do you have this document? I think we just went through each of the tools and how to refresh those.
Wait, say that again.
Do you have this sheet right here, the one that's specific to you and LiveSmart?
Let me search.
If not, I'll just send it to you again. That is no big deal.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and this is very similar to the year-end process with the screenshots and everything, but we went through this just specifically for LiveSmart. It's a little bit more customized for you
Okay.
guys. So I'll send that to you. No
Okay.
problem.
Awesome. Okay, maybe I'll have some time to review that and work on that. But it makes me feel a little bit better that I don't have to campaign wise. I don't have to worry about it. It's just more the rewards. And so even if I get that done by the end of January, I think it would be fine.
Yeah, yeah. The nice thing
Um,
is all the tools can run independently of each other. Rewards and Wellness Plan are
mhm.
just where we usually tie all the tools in together. So.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I've unchecked those. Yeah. So okay, well that works. Thank you for your time. I think that's all of my questions right now, but I may have some additional ones as I get into scale back. So I'll email you those if
Okay,
I come
no
across
problem.
them.
And I did want to mention next year, starting in January, I actually am teaching a class at 10 a.m. Mountain, so I won't be able to meet at this time on
Okay.
Thursdays anymore. But we could do our regular Friday time, we could do Wednesday, we could do Thursday a little bit
Mm-hmm.
later. So I'm not sure if
Okay.
you know Catherine's schedule already, but I'll just email you guys and we can set up a new weekly time
Yeah.
that would
Yeah,
work.
that works. As for next week, I guess let's plan on we won't have to meet next week, and I can just email you if I have any questions. But we should be good to wait, and then maybe the first week in January we can connect again.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
I'll send a follow-up email here and just have you and Catherine let me know what your schedules are looking like for January, and we'll just get something set up for the first week in January. And the next week, yeah, just let me know
Okay.
if you have any questions. I think I'll be out most of the week, just for Christmas, and my
Okay.
sister's getting married on the 28th.
Sure.
Exciting. So
Oh,
I
fun.
won't be
Yeah.
around much next week, but we'll get something
Okay.
set up for the week after, and um, I think we could just have the weekly call scheduled and then I'll just check in the day before and we can meet if we
Yeah.
need to or cancel if not. and that should be fine.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, well,
All right.
enjoy your vacation and wedding and everything. And yeah, we'll talk to you in the new year.
All right. Thanks, Lauren. Merry Christmas, and
Thanks.
talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.